Welcome everyone. This is our second webinar of our series from the Zone 34 Public Image team. We're going to talk about social media and websites tonight and how to incorporate those and improve those amongst your club and your districts. And I'll let Kelsey go ahead and start with our introductions.
So I'm Kelsey Mitchell. I'm the Assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator. I cover 3 districts in Georgia, so I cover the state of Georgia. And this is our team. Susan and I will be presenting tonight.
Hi.
Susan. And then Marshall and Sheila are also a part of our team. And so throughout this time, if you guys have any questions, feel free. You can send them to me directly via the chat, or you can send them to the group. But we're going to try and answer questions throughout the entire presentation as we go along. But if for some reason we don't get to your question, we'll get to it at the very end of the presentation. But please feel free to ask questions. We want to make sure that you're getting out of this exactly what you want. So make sure you ask a lot of questions.
So why social media? You guys might have seen this quote before, but this is, we need to put more emphasis on our public image using social media to build our membership and attract partners that can help us scale up our service. So all the way from the top down, Rotary is encouraging clubs and districts to enhance their social media presence, and for the reasons such as stated here, to build your membership, but also to help support your projects, your programs. Let people in the community know about what you're doing. Social media is key to enhancing our clubs and our district's public image. And as I mentioned before, Rotary International is making a huge push to do this across the board. So today we're going to start, and Kelsey's going to talk a little bit about the various types of social media.
So this is a graphic that I actually really love. It really does explain social media and all of the different channels that you have access to. I would say that Facebook is first and foremost the most popular social media network. We have 79% of internet users in the United States that are still using Facebook. 60% of the US internet users select Facebook to watch videos online, which I thought was really interesting. Video is definitely becoming extremely big. And it's big for a couple reasons. It sheds light on one of the biggest opportunities that Rotary International and your clubs and districts have as a brand right now, which is video. So any districts or clubs that are not doing anything with video, now is a really good time. But along all of these social media platforms, there's certainly a lot of benefits and a lot of value that will add to your clubs and your district.
So why should we use social media? As Kelsey mentioned, there's a lot of important roles that social media will play within the club and the district. First and foremost, you can drive people to your website and educate them on what your club's doing. Most people these days use the internet to look for social events. So if you're having any type of fundraiser, a project out in the community, any type of an event that you want people to support either monetarily or by attending, then you have to have an online presence. You have to have the information posted on your website. It needs to be easily accessible, and you must have it posted on your social media channels as well. And Facebook's one we're going to touch on a little bit more because it's definitely user friendly, and it's the most commonly used social media channel amongst the clubs. So if you don't have a Facebook page, then hopefully you'll come away from tonight saying, I'm going to start my club's Facebook page. If you do, then we're wanting you to get some tips tonight that'll help you enhance it. Why else should we use social media? Again, to increase our visibility, raise awareness, not just about Rotary in general, but about your club and the important differences and impacts that you're making in the community. Raise awareness about that. Another thing that the online presence does is it helps legitimize your club to donors and potential members. If you're seeking out sponsorships for an event and you don't have an online presence and your sponsor's looking for you online, then you know, they might be a little bit more hesitant to support your cause versus someone else's that has a presence online. So make sure the more online presence you have, the better impression it makes, and it gives you appeal that you're a solid and reputable organization. You can also use social media as a donation tool, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we touch on our events and projects in social media. But if you have a donation tool on your website or on your Facebook page or other social media channels, it's just one more avenue that you can collect funding for your events and for your clubs. And lastly, why use social media? Because your followers can help market you. They can help market your club and your projects and help you get support. And it's, for the most part, it's free. There are some paid advertising campaigns that you can run on various social media channels. But for the most part, when you post an event on Facebook, it's free. You can share it with your sponsors. You can tag your sponsors, your members, and it just broadens your reach that much more. So your online presence is very important.
So I think, what Susan just said, the last part for me is the most important. Let your followers help market for you. There are a ton of people on social media. The statistics kind of stand for themselves. 2.8 billion active social media users worldwide. That's insane. So having that many people that you are able to market to, and then they can in turn, share your information and market to their friends, which, really just broadens the scope. I definitely think is extremely important. And that's all across, all of the social media platforms. Looking specifically at Instagram, if you look into Instagram, there's 600 million users monthly, and they're predominantly younger female users. These demographics, I think, are really important for Rotarians to know and to understand. There is a younger generation that's coming in, and a lot of them do use Instagram. So from a perspective of if you're trying to market the younger Rotarians, this would be a good opportunity for you to utilize Instagram. It's perfect for kind of targeting some certain demographics.
We're starting to see a lot more Rotary clubs using Instagram as one of their social media applications. I know Facebook has been around for a while and it's been the most popular one, but Instagram is a go-to for millennials. Millennials are, from 81 to 1996, they're in that generation. There's actually a generation called the Xennials that sort of gets the tail end of the millennial era. So if you were born like in the late 70s or early 80s, those are considered Xennials, and they're also in that demographic who are utilizing Instagram. Some of the benefits of Instagram is it's very visually pleasing. You have a nice image with a small caption there, and a picture tells 1,000 words. Our Zone 34 team really encourages all of our districts and clubs to start posting pictures utilizing video, because it's going to grab your audience attention a lot more than a bunch of words in a Twitter feed or a Facebook post. Again, Instagram has 1 billion monthly active users as of this summer. It's really easy to search on Instagram, so you can search for, like up here I have Rotary 5340. You can search that and find the posts from that district. You can search People of Action, search by any hashtags that you think might be highly utilized in Rotary, Rotary Service Above Self, Rotary Squad. You can search for your event hashtags too. So if you're having, say, a wine festival, search for Lakewood Ranch Rotary Wine Fest, and you can see all of the images that have been posted that have been cataloged. And it's really great. I like to post on Instagram too, because when you add a post on Instagram, you can automatically link to your other social media sites. So instead of having to go and make 3 different posts on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you can put a picture and a post on your Instagram feed and just check a button that will automatically tag it to your other sites and share it immediately. You can also, we've talked before on some of these webinar sessions about using Hootsuite or If This Then That, and there's some other tools as well that collaborate your different social media channels, so you're not having to repost on every single one the same thing. So, again, Instagram, it's a really nice feature that it has, is being able to just generate those posts with one single effort.
So looking a little bit at Twitter, Twitter, very similar to Instagram, also has a younger demographic. This one is more predominantly male users. It's almost kind of half and half, but predominantly male users. And it's anywhere from 18 to 29-year-olds usually are using them. The one statistic that I thought was really interesting is that 53% of Twitter users never post any updates. All they do is read. And I certainly think that, I've done this before. I, had Twitter for several years and I never actually used it. And I think that all I did was read on it. And so I think that that's very interesting for Rotarians and for your clubs and districts is that, people, maybe they're not interacting, they're not tweeting anything, but they are looking at content and they are looking at what you're doing. A lot of people will use Twitter as like a news update. You get real-time news and real-time data. So, whenever somebody tweets something like, Donald Trump or President Barry Rassin, for Rotary, you see that right away. And that's something that's really interesting, which makes Twitter, definitely a step above some of the others.
One thing that I like to do with Twitter as well is, I'm sure if you're a Twitter user, then you know how you can get the notifications on your mobile phones. You can go in and set who you want to receive notifications for. So I turned off Donald Trump's tweets. I don't want to get all of the notifications on his tweets, but I want to hear President Barry Rassin's tweets. I want to read those. So I set those to only receive his notifications. That's a nice feature that you can use on Twitter if you're not already utilizing that. A couple of other tips if your club or district is going to start or expand upon your Twitter feeds. Again, just as Kelsey mentioned, Twitter provides real-time news updates as they're happening. If you have a Twitter page, you want to make sure you're continuing to use it. Don't let it go stale. Users access it on a daily basis, like Kelsey said, to access information. If they want to find out some information on your club, make sure you're using those hashtags for your events and your clubs so it's easily searchable. And make sure you're posting content all the time, whether it's a new member that was inducted into your club or new sponsors who are supporting your event, updates on your event locations or meeting locations, amplify any of your club activities and events, and those tweets that you make will get retweeted and expand your presence. Another tip for staying active on Twitter is to locate other Twitter feeds from other Rotary clubs, and I talk about this a lot because it helps you when you're kind of looking for content and you don't know, maybe you're just running stale one day and you don't have any information that you want to share. Go to World Polio Days Twitter feed and retweet some of their tweets. You don't have to generate brand new information every time, but you do need to continue to have a refreshed page. So look for other Rotary districts and clubs who are doing a lot of tweets and sharing a lot of information, and share their tweets as well, and it'll help you continue to have content on your feed.
Absolutely. Yeah, Rotary International and the Rotarian magazine are pretty active on Twitter, so I personally like to share a lot of their tweets, and they've got some really good stuff that comes. So certainly a great idea is to retweet what other people have done.
Yeah, I put this clip from a Rotary Club up here because I just thought it was really neat that it shows an event and it shows them supporting another organization, and then it shows something that they're honoring, an organization that they're honoring. So it doesn't have to just be feeds on your event. It can be all types of information that your club is participating in, all types of activities.
So I really love talking about hashtags, and Marshall has kind of coined this hashtag. I really love this slide that he does. But essentially, for those of you that don't know what a hashtag is, it is when you put the pound sign before words, like before a couple words, a small phrase, and all it does is aggregate any images or information that you post into one common area. So when you're searching, whether it be on Twitter, on Instagram, or on Facebook, you can search a particular hashtag, and all of that data, anybody that had posted anything with that same exact hashtag, it will come up for you. Some key things to remember about hashtags is try not to spam hashtags. So when you are posting, try and stick to like 2, maybe 3 hashtags at the most. doing some that are more specific, like here, Rotary Squad 6910, to something that's more broad around all of Rotary International, like People of Action, to something that's maybe just a community hashtag. So definitely kind of consider that. I do think it would be great for the clubs and districts, and even for your particular projects, to have a special hashtag that your club, your district knows to use. Make sure to check the spelling and make sure that everybody knows exactly which hashtag you're using. Make sure you're all using the same one. That way all of your information goes to the same place. But that is a really great tool. It's fun. It allows you to keep all your pictures. I've actually done a session in the past where I had people ask me questions during a live Twitter feed using a hashtag. And it works really well because they can go and search all the questions using the hashtag, and it also gave me an opportunity to read the questions while I was speaking, to look through them and answer the questions. So it's a really awesome tool.
And I'll just emphasize again, make sure your group knows what your hashtag is. Kelsey mentioned that, and that's very important. If you have Rotary Squad 6960 as a hashtag for your club or one of the events or activities you're doing, make sure people aren't putting or 6910 Rotary Squad. Make sure they put Rotary Squad 6910, because even if they impose the numbers on the front, it's not going to show up in the search. So again, make sure for your club, if there's any initials, if you're doing RC instead of Rotary Club, that everybody's utilizing the exact same hashtag. If you have an event, say you're having a golf tournament or a wine festival, I say wine festival because we're having ours next month, so I'm in full wine fest planning mode. But if you have an event, print off posters and say, check in our event, and then have the hashtag printed on posters and placed around your event, so people who are attending your event or your project see the hashtag, they know what it is, and they're using it. And they might not be members of your club, but they're members of the community, and that's tying them back to your social media feeds because they're using that same hashtag. And you might get photos that you never would have gotten before because you find them on the feeds because they posted using the hashtag.
So looking into a little bit more depth on video, again, we've mentioned this before, but video is extremely important. Facebook users alone are watching 100 million hours of video every single day. And more than 65% of those views happen on mobile devices. So making sure that, when you guys are making posts on your social media platforms, you're incorporating video, or at a minimum, you're incorporating an image with every post. The one thing that you want to make sure that you guys are doing is capturing the attention of your audience. And it has been proven that versus just words, an image will grab somebody's attention, but more than that, versus just an image, a video will grab somebody's attention. So I think certainly incorporating those two elements to every post that you guys are making would be a really good tip.
Yeah, the statistics are out there. People are much more drawn to images and videos by far. So it's very important that you're utilizing those tools when you're on social media. I don't like to read off statistics, but I'm going to for just read off a couple for YouTube because this is pretty astounding when I heard it. YouTube reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds, so again, that millennial age and younger, than any cable network in the US. We watch over 1 billion hours of YouTube per day, more than Netflix and Facebook combined. And this other statistic really shocked me. YouTube is the world's second largest search engine and third most visited site after Google and Facebook. I mean, that's crazy that people are on YouTube that much watching videos. If your club doesn't have a YouTube account and isn't active on YouTube, then I highly encourage you to find someone in the club that can start making videos and creating videos at the events that you have or at your club meetings, and start using YouTube and those hashtags so that you're showing up on the second largest search engine, and you're expanding your presence that much more. We are going to have a couple of sessions. The one in November, I'll do a plug here, is actually on videos for events. And so there's going to be some other sessions on videos, and I think we might have some video tutorials on our Zone website, which I'll pull up at the end of the slide presentation. But making a video, if you haven't done it before, can be a little bit intimidating. But as you can see from these statistics, having an online video presence can really enhance your club's public image. Videos are so important. Another tool that you can use YouTube for, there's some other video applications out there as well. Vimeo is one of them. You can embed the videos into your website and into your social media and into your newsletters. So if you make a video and load it on YouTube, it's, I don't have a tutorial up here, but there's a share button on YouTube, and one of the options is to embed, and it gives you the coding to copy and paste into your social media channels, into your website, if you do an e-newsletter, and that way you can share the videos without having that large attachment file or having to put it into, you know, like a Dropbox file or something like that to share. So YouTube is a really great tool for your clubs to utilize as well to be able to share those videos. And you can read some of the other statistics. It's amazing how much it's grown with all of the social media channels.
So looking at some of your goals for social media, specifically your content, first and foremost for me is being helpful and informative. And I think this is something that a lot of people are like, wait, don't you just want to tell them what we're doing? Well, yeah, absolutely. I would like to tell the community what our clubs in our districts are doing. But what I've noticed is that a lot more interactions will come out of news and helping your community understand, you know, certain things that are also within your community, but that your club is doing to benefit. So limit the call to action types of posts. I would say between 1 out of every 4 posts is what I would make a call to action post, like, hey, come join us, you know, for lunch or for breakfast. But I would make most of your posts being informative, whether it's about, you know, a particular water project that you guys have coming up, and then you tell them a little bit about, you know, maybe the particular country that you're going to, what their current situation is like, you know, what their water looks like now, how you guys are going to be helping. I think those types of posts are really informative for people, and they really like seeing exactly kind of where their money goes, if you will, if they were to join Rotary. But just some kind of generic tips is really connecting with your audience. That seems kind of like an obvious one, but when it's kind of more difficult when you look at it really, but you have to really add the human element to your post. So showcasing your district or your club, exactly what your personality is like. So when you're going to your meetings, how fun, you know, are your meetings? Showcase the personalities of your members and the people in your district. That will invite others to come in. But then also showcasing, you know, the people that you support. Your clubs do some really amazing things, and you want to showcase what you're doing. By adding that human touch to your posts, you'll draw more people in. And then looking at promotions, which is kind of an unusual one, but for like Susan, you know, her club has a wine festival coming up. If they were to do like an early bird special and they post it on their Facebook page, hey, you get 10% off if you do our early bird special for our wine fest. That draws people in because maybe they would already participate in your wine fest. They're already going to go to it. But if they know that they could like your Facebook page and maybe make a comment or something for 10% off, a lot of times people will do that. So including discounts for your event. I mentioned this a little bit, but sharing local news, especially, you know, with certain things that are going on in your community, it affects your club, your members. Showcasing that and sharing that local news on your page will be helpful as well. And, you know, if you're struggling for content, you certainly can look at Rotary International's tools. We have the monthly observances of things that you can look at. Within the brand center, there are pictures and videos that are already formatted for Facebook. And so there's people of action posts, there's tons of things and content for you to choose from, along with some really incredible images and videos that you can incorporate with that as well. So certainly keeping those in mind. Looking a little bit further into tips, if you go to the next one, there's live streaming, which you can do. So live videos are really fun. I personally am terrible at live videos, but I really enjoy doing them. You can hold contests and things through Facebook. That really allows your engagement to grow. And looking at specific challenges, I've had people do polls. You can take a poll of the people that follow your Facebook page. But really, live videos is kind of where it's at for a lot of people right now. Facebook users watch 3 times more if it's a live video, and they actually comment 10 times more than on a regular rate if it's a live video versus just a pre-recorded video. So going live, you can interview people going live. So this is kind of a silly picture, but it showcases that you can actually have 2 people go live at the same time. So once the first person goes live, you invite someone else into your live stream, and then you can showcase both people. So you can almost do like a dual screen interview, which is really cool. That incorporates, a lot more broader audience because there's 2 of you, but it also gets a more of a conversation flowing, so that way you have more engagement, more likes, more comments, more shares.
And so, like, you don't want to go live at every single club meeting and have your speaker live on your Facebook feed, because that, that's not the type of draw we're trying to have. But if you have a presentation, if you have a really amazing, captivating speaker by far or by any means, yeah, go ahead and do it. But if you're inducting a new member or giving a Paul Harris Fellow, making a big deal about something, that's a perfect time to do a go live video at one of your club meetings. And then events are other great opportunities to do go lives on Facebook. Excuse me. So this is an example of a Facebook event page. Again, if you have events or projects coming up, if you're going to host an event, make sure you have an event page created on Facebook. This is separate of your club's page. It actually, you can have donations come in. You can have people register. They can check in. They can mark that they're attending or that they're interested, and they can share your event. So it can really help expand your online presence and the reach of your event far more than having just a news release in the paper or going off word of mouth. It also allows you to, or attendees and you as well, to comment and rate the event. So you can see a comment up here, I think this is better than the Food and Wine Fest at Epcot. That's someone that's justifying your event by making their comments known on Facebook, and then all of their friends are seeing it. Anyone on your event page is seeing it. So if you're not hosting your events on Facebook, you're missing out on a huge demographic of people who could be supporting your event, making donations, and helping you get a much greater reach on the social media channels.
I think
you can also check in at your event. That's one thing I mentioned. So your event page is live all the time. As people come to your event, again, have your hashtags posted, encourage them to post, encourage them to check in. As they leave, have somebody saying thanks for coming. Make sure you share your comments on our Facebook event page. And, again, it's just all about creating a better public image for your club and getting the word out there of the good that you do in the community. We'll talk a little bit more about it next month on how you can really enhance your events by using social media and videos, but I would take that away with you tonight. If you're having events at your district and club levels, make sure you have an event page on Facebook.
I think it's important to note too with your events is that you have the opportunity to promote your events and actually do like a paid advertisement with Facebook. It's not very much. It's as little as I think like $5 or $6, and it can go all the way up to I guess however much you want to spend, but that allows you to choose the scope of people that will be able to see your events, and you'll see when it's posted it'll say sponsored underneath it, but that will really allow a lot more people to see it. So it's something that if you're having like an event like Susan's example, that would be a great time to do it. Maybe not for like a speaker or a club meeting, but certainly if you're trying to sell tickets or something, that's absolutely.
You can also boost your post. You could spend, set $10 a day, or if you have a budget for your public image committee, if you have a small budget that you can utilize, you can spend a bare minimum a day to advertise on Facebook and boost your posts, and you can set your target market so that the demographic you're trying to reach for your event is targeted through your Facebook post, and so it reaches beyond just the Facebook users that are friends of your friends. So if you do have a budget to utilize with your event, you can try out some of the Facebook advertising as well, and it does help. It's a fairly inexpensive compared to traditional media fairly inexpensive way to promote your event. And again, if you guys have questions on this, feel free to put them in the chat session, or we can put our contact information up again. Just email your district public image chair or your zone team, and we can help your club get going on some of these social media channels if you need any type of assistance with it.
So looking into the Facebook auto response assistant, this is one of my favorite things, and it's like, I apologize, I'm gonna get a little bit nerdy techie on you for this one slide, just because I really love this. You look at it and you think about all these people that have conversations on Facebook Messenger. I think it's like 7 billion or something a day. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And a lot of times it's really difficult, you know, as somebody managing somebody's page, managing a Rotary Club or a district page, it's difficult to get back to people right away. So adding this Facebook response assistant allows you to send a message automatically as soon as their content comes in, and let them know that you care about their inquiry and that somebody's going to be with them, and give them a time frame. If typically whomever is doing your page responds in 24 hours, just say, hey, you know, I really appreciate your message. Thank you for contacting, you know, Rotary District 6910. We'll be with you in about 24 hours, you know, something along those lines. But how you do that, I just did this quick tutorial. Go into your settings, click on messaging, and then response assistant. And if you want to get even further into that, below messaging down to messenger platform, there's a way that you can actually add a chat bot. So for those of you that don't really know what a chat bot is, chatbots, there's more than 33,000 chatbots that are active on Facebook right now. It's kind of a big deal. Essentially, it's an artificial intelligence powered software that interacts with your customers, your clients, or potential members. And it's something that you incorporate into your website. So if you go under Messenger platform, you can create this chat bot, if you will, and then you just copy and paste something and you put it into your website, and it allows somebody to send you a message from your website through Messenger. It's a really cool, really awesome tool that Facebook offers you, and it's super easy to do. There's certainly people that are more techie that could do it, you know, in a snap of a fingers, but anybody can kind of figure it out. It gives you directions if you go there. It gives you directions, and it actually allows you to email it to whomever manages your website. So you can just email them the code, and you know, they have all the instructions to put it together, and you don't really have to worry about that. Or they'll take you step by step through how to do it. But it's certainly something to just think about as like a takeaway, because it would really allow people to come to your website and be like, wow, this is an interactive experience versus a typical website, which is just kind of flat. They read the information and then they leave, and you don't really know if all their questions have been answered.
So we've covered most of the social media channels that we're highly encouraging your clubs and districts to use. We're going to talk a little bit about websites now, and then how to integrate social media into your websites to really maximize and enhance these tools to help give you, you know, just help promote your club and your district in the community. So obviously, some of the basic information that you need to have on your club website is your meeting day, time, location. You can have information on what is Rotary. I really encourage you, versus having a lot of text and information on Rotary International, to really identify and brand your club, versus RI. Have a lot of information on what your club does, pictures, videos, etc. Have information on the Rotary Foundation, and you know, the way I'd recommend doing that is having a link to the Rotary Foundation, either a page for your club or link it to your district's page. Every district should have a Rotary Foundation page. You can also link to pages on Rotary International. It doesn't need to be on your home page, all of the content, but do have a link so your members know where they can find that information. You can post upcoming speakers. You can post your newsletters if your club is doing a weekly or monthly newsletter or bulletin. And obviously, you're definitely going to want to have information on your events, how to register, donate, events that are coming up, and successes on past events and projects. Share your photos there. When you're designing or updating your website, Positive first impression is everything. In our fast-paced world, if someone goes to your Rotary Club's website and it's difficult to navigate or boring or drab or it's all text, then they're going to leave it and they probably won't come back to visit. So your homepage is a very important page. It's the most important page on your website. Just think about what information people might want to find about your club and put it on your website's homepage. So I talked about navigation. Navigation is really important. Make sure information is easy to find. You have, if it's not on your homepage, have a link to the days and times of when your club meets. Have a link to the foundation. Have links to projects and events or calendar of events, and have them up at the top where people can find them, or on a sidebar so it's easy to use, easy to find. If you can't find it on your homepage within a matter of seconds, then someone who's never been to your club meeting or never been to your club's website definitely won't be able to find it. Again, if people are confronted with a website that's confusing, cluttered, or dated, poorly designed, then it's going to leave a negative impression. So make it dynamic, engaging, make sure it loads quickly, make sure it's compatible with mobile devices, because the majority of your users are probably going to be looking at it from a mobile device or a tablet. And have information that's going to brand and identify your club on your club's website.
So this is an example of a website that I really, really love. It's from the Rotary Club of Santa Monica. And this is actually, I kind of pieced together 3 different pages from their website. But the first and foremost, the thing that you see right away is the Rotary logo. That white logo on those black hats just really stands out, and it's really powerful. Branding is everything. You want people to understand exactly right when they go to your website, you know, who you guys are, what you do. And you look at that first image and you're like, wow, these people have a good time. It's fun. It looks very inviting, very engaging. So I really loved that. Now this particular club, I will say, did use a professional photographer to take some of their pictures, but I don't think that that's totally necessary, but I do think that having very powerful images is necessary. And certainly from the brand center within you know, our Rotary International My Rotary website, you have an opportunity to use some really powerful images. So make sure you're utilizing that. But the gallery of images here really showcases how much fun that club has, and some of the events that they participate in and that they take part in. And that's really incredible. I think for me, a picture says so much more than just words. I mean, it really does showcase a good feeling, and that's what you want when people visit your website. And then also, you know, showcasing your speakers in a very different way. I think we've all got the calendar where, you know, it just pops up and says, oh yeah, Rotary meeting, speaker is, you know, so-and-so. But this one in particular really caught my attention. It was a speaker on, you know, what happened post-Holocaust, and you see that image and it's powerful. And so it invites you into it, and you really would like to go see that speaker. I personally was like, wow, I would love to see that presentation. Just alone, that image captured me. And so I think, you know, again, photography and smartphone photography is a session that we have, but, you know, it's something that is really important, understanding, you know, what you're putting out there. But events as well, you know, not just your speakers, but events that you guys are having, those types of things are certainly important to showcase on your website. So looking forward, I have a few other examples that I really like. There's Rotary District 6970. I feel like their website does a really nice job. I think it looks good. Again, you know, there's a very powerful image. And I think that the fact that they incorporated, their district governor incorporated video. I know District 6960 incorporates video on their website. I think that's a really great tool. You know, we've mentioned so many statistics about video and how, you know, how that really captivates a lot of your audience. So I think incorporating those onto your website is really important. But making sure that your website is really kind of showcasing who you are, who your district is, who your club members are, really showcasing that I think is important as well.
Make your website tell a story. So we talk about having images of your clubs and your projects, your club activities and projects. I really like this website because it tells a story about the club without using too much text on the page. So If your club is a water project club, you know, showcase those pictures of your members getting involved. If your club's very heavily involved in literacy programs, make sure you're telling that story effectively on your club's website. Same with the district website. If your district has a lot of collaboration amongst the clubs on district-wide projects, make sure you're telling that story right up front on the home page, using those images and videos, and really branding your club. Make sure the site accurately reflects your club's brand. So, you know, again, if there's something your club is really known for, make sure it's on your site. Make sure your site's going to attract the audience that you want it to. A lot of clubs have a welcome letter from the president on the homepage, which is really nice. But let's come into this century and make it a video instead of a 5-paragraph letter on the homepage. Have your president record a quick 1-minute video talking about what they're going to do this year or what this club's all about, and embed the video onto the website. So when people go to your homepage, they're not sitting there reading the letter, they're actually watching a video, which, as Kelsey showed in her statistics earlier, people are much more likely to visit the site and look at the content, and if it's in a video format. And again, tell your story using engaging photos. You know, if you can have more action shots versus candid shots, you know, those are really good at telling a story. And then it's always best, if you have these photos, to link to a different page other than your home page to get more of the content. So for example, if you have a really great write-up in the newspaper about an event or a project that you just did, have a blurb about it on the home page, and then click for more and have it open in a separate page. So you don't have all of that content embedded on your home page, blogging, taking up all the room. So we touched on websites and social media. Now let's talk a little bit about how to integrate the two. So we call Facebook, YouTube, website, all of these like home pages, initial pages that you're going to view are called storefronts. So when you go to your website, the home page is your storefront. When you go to your Facebook page, that Facebook homepage is your club's storefront. We want to make sure that when you're utilizing websites and social media for your district and your club, that you're collaborating and branding so that you have the same storefront amongst all of them. Not saying everything has to be identical, but make sure you're telling the same story with all of your storefronts. Integrate it to make everything appealing, visually appealing, but also have a very strong and powerful effect.
So looking a little bit further also into integration, understanding that it is very difficult to consistently keep up a website. So one of the things that you can do to make sure that your website always has fresh content is embed videos, Facebook live feeds, as well as like a Twitter feed. So those things will be constantly updating. So there'll always be something new, which will be really helpful for you. You won't have to worry about that. Making your stories or your posts easy to share for people on your website is also important. If you look kind of at the bottom right picture with the big yellow arrow, you know, having those buttons there so that when people see something that they really like on your website, they can share that to their social media platforms, will help them or help you really broaden your scope. Doing video blogs or just regular blogs are great for sharing. So if you have somebody that's, you know, really interested in doing things like that, maybe it's like a monthly newsletter or something you put in your monthly newsletter, but having it or incorporating a video blog or even just a regular blog would be really great. And then making sure that you're encouraging your members and others to share that to broaden your scope, which is really helpful. You can create custom social media buttons. So, you know, for whatever your platforms are, certainly something that you can look at.
The nice thing about integrating your like Facebook feed, for example, is it does give you new content all the time on your homepage, but it also refreshes you and optimizes you on all of the search engines. So if you have for example, if you have a website that hasn't been updated for, you know, since the last president was there and you know, the content's very stale and old, and someone's searching for a Rotary event in your area, if there's a neighboring club or, you know, other club that has a similar event that's posting and refreshing their data on their website all the time, their event's going to show up in the search much more frequently than yours was. So by having the social media live feeds, it's constantly refreshing the content on your website and pulling you to the top of those search engines. And it makes your life easier because you're not having to update your content quite as often because it's automatically doing it through your Facebook. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of information on social media and some on websites and integration. If you have any questions, again, you can go ahead and type them into the comment section. Before we sign off tonight, we did want to let you guys know that you can go to myrotarystory.org. This is the Zone 34 public image website, and we're always looking for news stories and videos. So as your club's making a video, make sure you're getting that information to us so we can put it on our website. Don't forget, I'll do a plug, there is a video contest with our zone again this year, and it's run through Facebook. And submissions are not due until closer to the end of the year. But make sure you guys are, you know, learning how to use video for your clubs and districts, and in your clubs at least, getting some content for your video contest at the end of the year. This presentation tonight, as well as the other webinars that we're doing, including the one that we did last month on the public image citation and public image plan, they're all on the website here. If you click on presentations, you can view the webinars and our future sessions as well. I think we do have one. We have one scheduled on November 13th. Everything you need to know about video for your events and projects. So the information and registration link is on the website, and will also be sent out to the clubs and districts in the coming weeks. And we also want to encourage you to let us know what you want to learn about. So our team has come up with a couple of sessions, these last few sessions, based on what we've heard. So we want to hear more response with regards to public image, how we can help you. So
I know we have a couple questions. The first one that I have is, do I have to be on every social media network? No, please don't do that. That will be extremely overwhelming for you or whomever it is that's doing that. It's very tempting to increase your visibility among all the platforms, but it's really not necessary. Understanding what your demographic is, what your club or district is trying to do, picking maybe 1, 2, at most, I would say 3, depending on your club. That's kind of where it is. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are the most common. I would say, you know, kind of stick to those unless you guys, you know, have a different demographic that you're trying to reach. That's what I would stick to.
And try to find someone in your club or district that's on one of these social media channels all the time, and encourage them, make them an administrator on the page and have them take over. You know, work with the president and the board with regards to what information needs to be shared. But find someone who likes doing it and who's already on these social media channels on a regular basis. And if they enjoy doing it versus it being something they have to do all the time as their responsibility to the club, then you're going to have a much greater effect on it. So look for someone in your club that would be interested in starting up some of these social media pages, and or recruit someone from your club, from a marketing company or a web design company. Recruit someone and ask them if they could get involved in that capacity.
Absolutely. And making sure, one tip too is just make sure that your social media handles are all consistent. So if you have a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Twitter, make sure that it's all the same. So Rotary District 6910. You know, don't change it up in between, because otherwise it makes it really difficult for people to find you. So another question that we had was, how do you deal with negative comments or like kind of brand issues? From this perspective, there certainly is a lot of ways that you can deal with that. I think it's extremely important to address the negative comments right away. So an example that was used is basically if there was a festival going on and there was only, you know, one beer tent and people wanted more, so people complained about not having enough. Certainly addressing that right away on your social media platforms is the best way to handle it. If you don't respond, people are going to think that, you know, you don't care, you were just in it for the money or whatever. So making sure you respond and doing everything you can to address and fix their problem right away. Maybe you can't fix it for this year, but certainly you can reach out and try and address it for the following year. But that's definitely important to do.
And if it's something, if it's a, you know, like a complaint that you don't want to, that's not geared towards public knowledge, you know, if it's something that they're more festering about, you know, it's, that might be better to deal with it privately, just say, you know, message them privately and get them your contact information on how you can resolve something. If it is like we ran out of beer or there's not enough parking, that's public information that needs to go out to everyone, so definitely address it publicly. But if you have someone that's just has a bone to pick, try not to handle that in the public presence on social media.
Right. And then we have two more questions that I see. One about the paid page setting in Facebook. Am I understanding? Are you talking about like promoting your posts? I'm hoping. If you are talking about promoting your posts, if you have an event, there will be like a little promote button that has like a, what do you call those little like speaker things, megaphone or something like that. And that's what you would then click on to promote your post. Oh, look, she's gonna go back to it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
I don't have one here, but it would say. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
If you can see on the middle left part of the screen where it says promote.
And that'll bring you to like an insights page. And once you do click on that, you can go through and you can see if you have like a business account, depending on how you set up your club account, if you have a business account, you'll have an insights page where you can see, and then that'll talk a little bit more about promotions and understanding those promotions there.
It also has, if you want, like to the, when we refer to the booster post, so you can do paid advertising. If you're the administrator on the page, it automatically comes up every time you make a post on your event page. Boost this post for more effect, and you can get through the advertising section of it that way and set your budget.
Perfect. And then how do you get to the chatbot again? I'm so glad somebody asked this question because I think the chatbot is the coolest thing on earth, but I might be the only one. Well, clearly not. So
Daryl thinks it's cool.
Going into your settings, from your page, going into your settings, in the image that I have, it says messaging. Don't click on that one. If you go down a few, it says messenger platform. And once you get into messenger platform, there's going to be a custom chat plugin. And that's where you're going to get that setting. It'll allow you to change what you want your first response to be. So you can, you know, make it say like, welcome to Rotary District 6910. You know, we'd love to answer your questions. Kelsey's here to help you. Did you find it, Daryl? I see you shaking your head. Just shake your head. I can see you. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah, certainly that's a really awesome tool, man. If you can get people to do that on your websites, it's really cool. And it's relatively, for the most part, easy to do. If not, you can send it to somebody who knows how to do it. And it's neat. It's a good function. But are there any other questions? I guess we can unmute people if you guys would like to just ask a question.
I did put Kelsey's email up here in the chat section, and my email as well. So if you guys have questions after the session or at any time, just feel free to reach out to us. Your district public image chairs are great resources too.
All right, I unmuted everyone. So if anybody has a last minute question, you know, please feel free to ask.
I think something that we have kind of kicked around doing, and after this presentation today, we might decide to have maybe one of our webinars on maybe a demonstration on Facebook. So how to set up an event page and boost your posts, and how to set up donate now or register here. Do you guys think that might be something you'd be interested in learning more about?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Well, I'm going to do it anyway. So.
Are there any other kind of feedback things? Does anybody feel like there's other topics that you really want to learn about that maybe we should do a webinar on?
If you think
I'm new to Facebook and a lot of these things, so just I mean, really just where to go to do things, you know, while I watch you do it, because I iPhone in my hand. So I'm trying to track and do these things because once I get directions and I can see somebody else do it, I may be good to go. But
so maybe like a how-to, maybe a more in-depth kind of how-to.
yes, how-tos would be helpful. I mean, we have somebody else in the club right now that's posting some of these things, but he's overwhelmed. And if I can get in and learn how to do it, either from him or you guys, it would be wonderful.
Okay, yeah.
And just so you guys know, if you have an administrator on your Facebook page or on any of your social media channels, website included, you can add multiple administrators. So don't think that just the one person who's currently active and doing it is the only person who can. Maybe if you have, like, let's say someone does it for your club and you have a project coming up, you want someone else to kind of manage posts with regards to the project, add them as an administrator and they can make the post you know, right alongside the person who's already managing the club page. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. If there's anyone, if you want to share this presentation with anyone else in your club, please let them know. It's going to be posted. Give us a few days, but it'll be posted on the My Rotary website, on our stories website, and you can access it anytime after tonight once we get it up.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Have a great night. Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Be the inspiration. Woohoo!
Be the inspiration.